invented this temperature. You wouldn't believe, now remember where the Nick's Hospital is, the SUVs, the Hummers, the diesel trucks, the number of vehicles out there polluting the air, and the very people that are trying to save their grandparents' lives and save their children's lives don't even connect that they're a part of the problem. They're putting that much pollution out as much as any of the rest of us, and their children are sick, and their grandparents are sick. I just found it kind of an irony. It just struck me as kind of strange. Ordinarily, I have a basketball here, and I have it wrapped in saran wrap. I didn't know I was going to do this show until I got here, and I peel off the saran wrap. And the reason I do it is, in comparison to that ball, the saran wrap is 10 times thicker than our atmosphere. When we think it just goes up and goes away, folks, the atmosphere is only about 6 miles deep, wrapping up our Earth. The rest of it's not available to us. So if you don't think we can pollute 6 miles of air with 7 billion people, putting about 25 or 30 pounds each of carbon every day? Now, I have people who say, oh no, we're not affecting the environment. No, I got news for you. Think about this. I stole this guy's idea in case you don't know. That was me for a couple of years. Pretty smart, and we are the smartest thing that ever existed on this earth. We are the smartest, most intelligent animal. But you know what? There's no other animal, nothing living on earth, except us, that would have ever taken the air we've got and turned it into a toxic waste dump. And that's what's happening. And we're doing it more and more every day, and we're denying it to ourselves. We are ruining our air. What about water? Did you know that you're that much water? 72% of your body is nothing but water. That's a lot, isn't it? Some of it's even more exciting. Your liver's 96% water. Your brain's 75% water. You're water. You are the water of this earth. It's very interesting. We look at the water very much the same way. If you look at how it goes, it evaporates and it changes the molecules and it comes back. But in essence, we're using the same water we've always been using. It's our water. It goes into the lakes. It goes back up into the air. We breathe it. It may come down as precipitation. It may evaporate and go back up. It may go underground for 1,000 years. But it is our water. It's the lifeblood of what makes the world turn. Matter of fact, this guy's kind of well known. He was a water weirdo. He was afraid of water, but he loved it. He did 72 different drawings and paintings and pencils all about water. He really loved his water. Back then, that it was like the blood of our world, that every time that ocean breathes 4 times a day, every 6 hours, it is the lifeblood that makes our world survive. And we're not taking very good care of it. Same old stuff. What other animal intentionally is polluted the water that we live in? No other animal ever did. This is it. We're at the beginning of it, and it's getting worse. Did you know there's about 1,250 rivers in the United States you're not allowed to go in anymore? You can't swim in it, you can't drink it, you can't eat fish in it. If there's any left, children aren't allowed near it. There's big signs, especially if you're pregnant, telling you not even to get near the water because it's so loaded with poison. 1,200, almost 1,300 rivers. The dead zone, the Gulf of Mexico, was bigger than it's ever been. 8,000 square miles of dead ocean this year. It was 300 miles square just 15 years ago. 8,000. Now we've just found a 1,700 square mile area along the coast of Texas. They just announced it this week. I just did it on the show for the first time. Coming out of the Brazos River, that area, 6 feet from the surface, from the bottom of the ocean up, is so dead shrimp can't live anymore. It's threatening the entire shrimp industry, and we're killing it. How are we killing it? We're not poisoning it directly. We've got so much nitrogen going into the water that we're getting algae blooms and they're using up all the oxygen and the fish are suffocating. Synthetic nitrogen is not a good idea. How about soil? What are we doing with our soil? Here's what it should look like. You should think about, we're not even ranchers. I'm not a vegetable grower. I'm not a tomato grower. I'm a microbe. I get my soil with everything living in it that ought to. All the bacteria and all the microbes and all the earthworms and all the nematodes and all the protozoa. You know what? It'll grow food. The plant will find what it needs. But when we use these synthetic pesticides and herbicides, especially the numbers we use, we kill these guys. We wipe 2/3 now. We don't sterilize. I used to believe the whole thing was wrong. No, if I get my microscope out and I look, there's a few things there. So you can take that same soil, bring it back to life in 3 months, and put that same stuff under my microscope, and you'll have 10, maybe the word's millions, tens of thousands more microbes in just a matter of 60 days. As soon as you quit killing it, it'll start fixing itself. But right now, we spend our lives killing our soil with synthetic fertilizers, petroleum-based herbicides, and pesticides. And we're one of the worst nations in the world. Things like atrazine is now used anywhere in the world. The European Union won't use it, Japan won't use it. We use about 70 million pounds a year right now in the United States. Enough for all of us to have a half pound each almost, quarter of a pound of pure poison. And we're using it every year. We have to give it up because of the water. Same old question, that's why I keep bringing him up. What else, what other animal ever did to the soil that what we're doing to it? Nothing ever has in all history past. We ought to bring this guy up. If that wasn't there, none of this would exist. We live on plants. Plants are the only thing we've got that can take that energy and convert it to something we can eat. Period. I get this for another reason. Let me show you something. See this little loop right here? This was a sun flare back in 1976. That's 365,000 miles across. You put 100,000 or something Earths in that little spot. The sun's big and it's powerful. We live on the sun. We are solar powered. Unfortunately, all the petroleum that we use, where did it come from? It's sun. It's liquid sun. All the coal we're burning, the number one thing we use in the United States now, all made from the sun. Plants that got made and buried into the ground. The sun is our sole source of living. This is a forest up in central Canada. Look at the devastation. It's dying from the tops down because of this little guy. It's 150 miles further north than it was a decade ago. What's happening? It doesn't get quite cold enough to kill this little guy's larvae. So they're taking over millions and millions of acres of forest that has never, they don't have any natural predators in because it's never had to happen before. They don't know what they're going to do. But we're losing millions of acres of forest. I just happened to go to Alaska 2 years ago. I flew over somewhere. You know, we were lucky in the last few years, but you know, in Earth, in the United States, not with the world, on average, the Red Cross and whatever the European Red Cross is, it starts with an F, hits about 120 to 150 disasters a year in the United States. In 2007, they went to 520 worldwide disasters. So even though we didn't get the big hurricanes the last few years we did before, there's been more typhoons, more tidal waves, more floods, more burning. Think how it burnt in the West this year. All because the climate's changed. Things are not working the same, folks. When you get 500 here, this is in Bangkok in Thailand, they flooded for months, not for a week. It wouldn't end. We were not a drought. We got 60 inches right here. We were proud. They got about 100 inches, 120 inches. They're not used to it. They're used to 40 inches a year. Here's that same map again. Just remember again, we're going to call it climate change because nobody likes the word global warming. This is interesting. Proposed coal-fired plants due in the next 5 years in the United States, 5 to 8 years. Each one of those plants, now we had 25 in Texas, we went down to 11, right now we're down to 3. We've gotten very smart. We're the #1 wind power producer in the United States now. But each one of these, here's the scary part you gotta think about. Each one of those puts out the same amount of pollution roughly as the city of Los Angeles every day. That's a lot of carbon. Coal burning is very dirty. We don't know what we're going to do to fix it, but it's dirty as hell. I don't know. This I just did in November 6th. I was in Georgia. I went and did a month of shows, and it is so dry. What do they call it? Exceptional. It has never been listed as being drier ever since we've been recording weather in the east. Now they got some good rains in the last week or two, and that sounds good. Oh boy, we're fixed. No, they're still so far down that they're worried about Lake Lanier not being able to put water enough to even feed the city of Atlanta. So we've got some weather changes coming that are a part of, maybe we should real quickly say there's between climate and weather. This is weather. It was 44 yesterday morning, and that's pretty normal for here sometimes. But what climate is, you take all that from all over the world and you average it out for the whole year,